Just bought a new keyboard. I'm gonna try it out. So I wanted to do a little video here talking real briefly about AI because a lot of people are like, hey, you can write a whole song, you can write a whole poem, you can write whatever with AI, and it brings up all these different ideas of plagiarism and everything else. And, you know, it's not going to be something you wrote unless you prompt it to. And I'm trying to understand how all this works. I just briefly played around with it with a little bit, and I think it's interesting. It's really a fascinating tool. It's a tool. It's a very powerful tool if used correctly and ethically. Like for instance, if you're a songwriter and you want to check over your spelling, it can be a great editor. If you want to brainstorm ideas, it can be a great way to do that. If you want to construct things and say, well, what's the theme of this? What's that? Wonderful for that. But if you're going to write something, it's not your writing. And what it can do, I urge people to play around with it though. Play around with it because the fact that uh, I went to college, learned a lot of different skills, spent years around different songwriters, artists, learned how to paint, music, you name it, writing. And I can see a benefit in it as a fast paced learning to get that. It won't give you the same ability a person will, but it's like when I took psychology classes and we learned how to do research and do analytical data crunching and things like that. And they said, well, here's a program that can do all that. They're like, well, why didn't you just give me that program to do this? And it's like, well, you have to know what you're doing the old way before you do it the easy way. And that's very important with all these things. Um, it's like I said, Picasso with painting. Picasso was a great still life painter, but he's not known for that. So, there's a lot of intrigue in this field of AI. So, briefly in conclusion, what can AI do? It can make you a better writer. It can show you writing skills. It can show you ways that you don't think naturally that other people might think. Very powerful for that. Do I think that it's something that's going to take over? No. No, I don't. I still think the person sitting by a keyboard is just way more creative than any computer will ever be. Um, you also have limitations to AI. I put in a couple of prompts, nothing all that bad, and it was like, well, I'm not doing that because we need to write a happier story. And what I found with what it wrote, if you were trying to write a story, is the Donna Reed style stuff. It was just this happy, everybody's great, everybody has a wonderful, happy life, everything. And yeah, no conflict, nobody swearing, nobody being, no guys that are talking bad to women just being because you want to show a villain. You can't have a villain. A villain is not going to work in AI because it's going to say, no, this isn't ethical. Of course it's not. That's why they're a villain. Um, you want to show why a person is the way they are. A good villain is actually not like the the tying the girl to the train track. It's somebody that's twisted. It's the anti-hero's um, personification as a shadow. So, the whole Jungian archetypal system. So AI does not understand that. It's going to write you something that's going to be flowery, beautiful. It's going to have wonderful dialogue. We're going to make bacon and eggs, kids. Thanks, Mom. That kind of stuff. It's like, it's pretty bizarre when you try running it. It really shows you what it wants the world to be like. And it's a lot like having a 3-year-old with an IQ of 100 and, well, IQ of 1,000, beyond that. I don't know how you'd even describe it. But it only gives you what you prompt it to. So you're not going to build a story with it. You have story building skills. Like, what can you do with AI? Well, first of all, you can say, hey, I'm going to build a story here. I'm going to build the concept of it. I want to write a story. Like birds in air, you've heard them. Two zebra finches in a cage, and a little girl goes into the pet store with her mom and buys them. Okay, that's one tier. I don't want it to be about two zebra finches. I want it to be about a parrot or a puppy or whatever. And it will change as it goes. What that's giving you is the perspective of getting rid of flat characters, getting rid of like where if you're a guy, you're writing women from a perspective that you're not a woman or that alien or whatever the hell you're writing about. It gives you a way of looking outside your own um, biases, your own contextual life skills and situations, and seeing things that you might not be able to think of. Another thing AI is good for is if you're writing a novel, you want to brainstorm the characters. You can say, hey, give me a list of character names. My character is a biologist. He works in biological sciences. We're looking at the bacteria that are in a volcano that only live there, whatever. So you're writing that, and you can actually, by asking it to do that, it will write you a list of names. It'll also give you a background on ways to define that character, the motivations. Is the character an emotional person? Are they stoic? What's their life history? What motivates them to who they are? What are their personal characteristics? And it helps you build a better, richer character that when you look at and you're writing, you can say, yeah, right here. Those are the skills you learn in college. Uh, it also teaches you to draw out your dialogue and the scenes in between with descriptions to give richer detail. It can train you how to write properly. But in reality, you can just pick up a book and read a good book and learn all that. I think it's a little silly.